Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hobby Homestead. I'm Amy, and today I thought I would show you how to save tomato seeds. There's a couple ways that you can do this. One is just to cut the seeds out of the tomato and lay them flat, let them dry. The other is to ferment them in some water. There's a couple of kinds of tomato that I want to save today. One is this gold medal tomato. Oh, I forgot my scale. I should go get the scale to weigh it. Another is a buffalo steak tomato, and then this is an Amish paste. The thing about these tomatoes, like these individual fruits that I have picked and want to save seeds from, is that they are beautiful specimens from each of these plants. So this is the biggest tomato on that plant, and this is one of the biggest on its respective plant. And so I want to save seeds from tomatoes that look nice and big and plump and juicy. I'm not 100% sure if that's going to translate into plants that make bigger tomatoes in future generations, because I think that all of the seeds and all of the tomatoes on each plant are probably very genetically similar, but it's worth a shot. One way you can actually select for certain traits in a tomato is for earliness, that it ripens, or for disease resistance. So in that case, you want to look at what tomato plant you have puts on the first ripe tomatoes, and then you would save seeds from that. Similarly with disease resistance, if you've got a bunch of tomatoes and some are coming down with all the diseases that are going around and a few others are looking really healthy through it all, definitely save seeds from those plants because they're showing signs of better disease resistance, and you can capture that in the genetics of the plant if you save their seeds. First, I want to weigh this one tomato. 2 pounds and 2.9 ounces. That's an epic tomato right there. While we've got it here, let's weigh the buffalo steak. 1.5 pounds almost. Also pretty good. Okay, so now I'm gonna start by cutting into my gold medal tomato. I have some containers to put my cut tomatoes in because we are going to eat them. That's the nice part about saving seeds from things like tomatoes, is you still get to enjoy the fruit and save the seeds. With some things, you have to give up the whole vegetable or fruit so that you can save their seeds. Whoops. So method one, the simplest method, is just to cut into your tomato. Oh, this is such a big tomato. I don't know how I'm gonna fit it in my container. We're gonna go like this. This is a very, very meaty tomato, which just means that there's not going to be a whole lot of seeds in it, but boy, is it going to be delicious. It's also going to be really good for things like sauce. You can make soups with these tomatoes. You're going to scrape out the seeds, if you can find some, onto a paper towel, or if you want to use something completely waste-free, then you can put it on like a cloth or something. I'm just going to cut into this until I find more seed pockets. And scrape as many seeds as I can find onto a towel. Find some more seeds. Scrape them out. They're going to come with all this pulp and all these juices. And this pulp that's all over your tomato seeds, like a gel, is on there to protect the seeds when they get eaten by critters, so that the seeds can actually pass through their digestive tract and come out the other end and be totally fine to grow. So the pulp will then break down in something's digestive tract, but the seed makes it all the way through. Which is why there's this other method for saving seeds, which is the fermentation method. So you're gonna take a clean jar. I mean, it doesn't need to be that clean, it's fine. And we're gonna dig through this tomato until we find some more seeds, another one of those seed cavities, and just scrape some seeds into a jar. Now you're going to add some water into the jar. Non-chlorinated is best because you want this to ferment. Chlorine can stall that process, although it's not the end of the world if you have no other option. It should still work. Give the jar a little shake, and then just let that sit out on your counter for about 2 to 3 days, and we can come back and check on what it's going to look like then. But let's keep going with our other tomatoes for now. Really important step is to write the variety on whatever you're putting your seeds in. So I'm going to write gold medal on this jar. I'm also going to write it on this paper towel. If you put your seeds on just like a towel or something, it's fine. Just put a label, a little sticky note or something on it. Now while I'm here, hello. This tomato here, this buffalo steak tomato, I got these seeds for like $10 for a little pack of, I don't know, 10, maybe 20 seeds years ago now. I think I got it from Vessie's Seeds. And it is a hybrid tomato. So technically, if you're saving seeds from a hybrid tomato, you may not get that same plant. You may not get the same like phenotype representing itself in the tomatoes that come from its babies. But I have had exceptional luck saving the seeds from this hybrid. So I keep doing it. Every year I save more seeds and it always comes out the same. They're these big, fairly reliable, very meaty tomatoes called buffalo steak. Paste tomatoes or Roma tomatoes tend to have like the fewest seeds of all because they are supposed to be really meaty, but there should be enough for us here. There's a little seed cavity right there. I thought I'd do a couple more while I'm out here. Why not? This one is Wappapinnigan Peach. And it's got lots and lots of seeds. And this is Midnight Roma. I should do a black crim too. All right, can't help myself. I'm gonna do another one. One other thing I should say about saving tomato seeds is that they will cross-pollinate. So if you think of it in a fun way, it's really easy to sort of make your own tomato varieties. You can get your own hybrids going on. However, if you want a tomato to be true to its variety, so say I grow this beautiful Wappapinnigan Peach, the yellow tomato with this sort of fuzzy skin, and it's growing next to a Brandywine or a Gardener's Sweetheart or something else, those can cross-pollinate because insects do pollinate tomatoes. Even though they don't require it, tomatoes are like a perfect flower, they are self-fertile. Bumblebees in particular are great pollinators of them, and so they'll buzz from flower to flower and they will exchange pollen. So then you end up with crosses. And that's sort of happened to me over the years. My Wappapinnigan Peach doesn't have the same fuzzy skin that it used to, but I'm okay with that because the fuzzy skin wasn't always the greatest texture. So I don't mind that it's crossed. If you want to save a very specific variety that you love, find a flower bud that's not yet open. And you're going to take one of these little bags. You can get creative and make your own out of like cheesecloth or whatever. This is little mesh toll sachet that I use for seed saving. You put this over that flower bud. Remember, not fully open because then it's maybe too late and it's already been pollinated. And you close it tight and you can give that flower a little shake as it opens. So keep an eye on it. Give it a little shake. Some people say that an electric toothbrush is like the same frequency as a bumblebee. And so if you hold that up against the flower, it really encourages it to drop its pollen and to pollinate the flower. And And then you just watch and see, and as that blossom dries up, turns into a tomato, then you can take this baggie off, or the tomato would quickly outgrow the baggie, and mark the tomato. So if you have some like orange tape or something like that, just tie it around the stem of that tomato, and that's the tomato you're gonna save seed from. So you watch it grow, you watch it ripen, you let it get nice and big, and then you take it off, and then you save the seed from it, and then you know it's gonna be true to that variety. Welcome back. It's about 3 days later after I saved those tomato seeds. We're out in the garden then. And here's our dried on paper towel tomato seeds. They are, this one's easier to see. This is the Amish paste. They're very dry and ready to peel off. Now here's the one reason why I don't like this simple method of just laying the fresh goop from the tomatoes out on paper towel. They really stick. All that tomato goopiness makes the seeds really stick to the paper towel, and actually lifting them off can be kind of tricky. No, that one wasn't so bad. Actually, this brown paper towel is a little bit easier, but if you use that like traditional white fluffy stuff, you'll end up getting big chunks of paper towel with your seeds. But they're coming off okay. They do still have some tomato gunk on them, but it's totally dried. You must make sure that it is totally dried. Otherwise, you're going to end up with mold in your tomato seeds in whatever you're packaging them in. There's a couple of the seeds. You can see they still have just dried gunk on them, but it is 100% dry at this point. So you can go ahead and put these seeds into a package right away, label the type and label the year that they were collected, and then you're good to go. But I also fermented some tomato seeds. They're in this basket right here. This is the same tomato, Amish paste. Didn't seal the jar. Don't seal the jars because you are fermenting, and if you forget about them, I don't know if something like tomato gunk would explode. I don't know if it would ferment that powerfully, but if you are fermenting in jars, it's good practice to not seal the jars because they might explode. So you can see here, there's a bunch of floating material, and these seeds that have sunk to the bottom are our viable tomato seeds. So we're gonna strain off all this other stuff. I'm gonna start by just pouring out the stuff off the top because it's thick and gunky. And once we get near the bottom, that's where our viable seeds are, so I'll put them through a strainer. Give them a quick rinse. And there they are. Now we also have to dry these before we can store them, obviously. If you're just doing one at a time, one tomato at a time, you can set your strainer out to dry, or we can put these on paper towel as well and let them dry that way. And label. You can see the difference in cleanliness really easily. These are the ones that we just fermented and rinsed. These are the ones that came directly from the tomato. And we have to dry them, otherwise they will spoil or they will germinate right on this paper towel. Next, Wapsipinicon peach. You know what? These ones aren't quite done fermenting, I don't think. There's still a lot of gunk on them. So I'm gonna let these ones sit another day. Yeah, this one still has gunk too. That one's almost done. This one's gold medal, and that one's almost done. Yeah, we'll say gold medal. Okay, there's gold medal. Now, it really doesn't make that much of a difference to sow seeds that have been fermented versus just laid out to dry. They are all going to be equally viable as long as you harvested them when the tomato was ripe and they didn't sit in water for a very prolonged period of time, like for a week or more, and they were dried perfectly well before saving them in a package to sow then later on. As long as all those conditions are met, it really doesn't make a huge difference. The reason why we ferment, aside from my preference to have clean seeds to put away, the other reason is that it technically would hasten germination because otherwise soil microbes and moisture and everything have to break down that gel coating in the ground once you've sown it. I really don't find it to be much of a difference. I have for many years now saved my own tomato seeds through both methods and grown them out through both methods. And I really can't tell you if there's a big difference or not in how well they germinate. There might be. I'm sure you can find studies on it, but just for like the typical backyard gardener, don't worry about it. You can save them either way, whichever is easier or maybe whichever is more intriguing for you to try. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have my work cut out for me peeling all of these dried goopy seeds off of the paper towel and putting them in packages. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you come and grow with us.